It's time for another blistering report from the front lines of the cultural war for a constitutional America. And now, here's your host, Charles Benninghoff.
Obama's Homeland Security Secretary, Jay Johnson, will be out of a job in just a few days when Donald Trump is sworn in as president. But before that happens, Johnson and Boss Obama are trying to do as much harm to America as possible. Johnson has announced that the Department of Homeland Security, or DHS, is moving to seize control of all state election systems by declaring those systems to be, and I quote, critical infrastructure. This is an unprecedented dictatorial move in America. It is incredibly dangerous and unconstitutional. And if you want America to continue holding free and fair elections, as the Founding Fathers intended, I urge you to watch this report closely and then take action. We're calling on Congress to step in and prevent the executive branch from taking power away from the states in the federal elections. I'll let you know how you can get involved in that fight in just a few minutes. On January 6th, the DHS announced that state election systems are being reclassified as critical infrastructure so that federal, public sector, labor union employees will be able to manage, oversee, and meddle in all 50 state federal elections. A quote that is attributed to that murderous communist dictator, Joseph Stalin, came immediately to my mind when I first heard about this. Stalin once stated, "The people who cast the votes decide nothing. The people who count the votes decide everything." And that's exactly what the public sector labor union goons working for the federal government are hoping for. In other words, it doesn't matter who you vote for on election day, so long as the federal public sector labor union crooks are counting the votes, because it will be the federal counters who decide which candidate wins. Obama, the Democrat Party, and the media are in full meltdown because the American people chose Donald Trump in a landslide over crooked Hillary Clinton in both the Electoral College votes and in the popular vote. So the federal employees want to ensure that no conservative like Donald Trump is ever elected again to lead America. America's a wrecking ball made up of federal bureaucrats and public sector labor union federal employees think they know better, so they're positioning themselves to become our nation's vote counters. Isn't that a fright? And it's a complete and total lie that our elections were hacked. It is a fake news item, as Donald Trump so appropriately stated against a CNN news channel. There has never been one shred of evidence to support this leftist allegation, with one exception. Some state public sector labor union employees have allowed non-citizen aliens to vote, and I'll talk about that later. Even before the election, though, Jay Johnson admitted that no foreign governments were trying to hack the nation's voting machines. Johnson admitted that there had been no hacking while testifying in a Senate committee when a Democrat tried to imply that the elections were in danger. Here, take a look and see what Johnson said. This will surprise you.
They're getting into the databases and changing the votes? That's what they're doing?
No, that's not it. The matters are under active investigation. I think there's a limited amount we can say.
Okay.
But what we are seeing are efforts to get into voter registration rolls.
Voter registration rolls are not voting machines, and they're not vote counting machines. The voter registration rolls are simply lists of registered voters stored both in computers and on printed paper lists. Besides, every state in our glorious union will gladly provide you an electronic or printed list of all registered voters, and they'll even tell you if the person voted or not. So, this is pure bullshit from now out-of-power socialists like Obama and Johnson. After Johnson made the announcement on January 6th that state-run election systems are critical infrastructure, the National Association of Secretaries of State, or called the NASS, issued a press release opposing the move, and at the same time, they announced collectively there had been no hacking of the voting machines. So what are the items that Obama and Johnson want to be included in critical infrastructure? Let's look at them. Well, let's start out with polling places, centralized vote counting locations, storage facilities, voting machines, voter registration databases. So This midnight regulation is going to give federal employees control over where they're going to store the votes. Guess what's going to happen in the middle of the night? All these millions of votes just all of a sudden appear and it gets stuffed in the boxes. Care of the federal labor union employees. Yes, there we go. So in future elections, public sector labor union members will be in control of the polling places and the vote counting, the vote storage. There's not going to be any step in the process that's not going to be within their grimy grip. These federal labor union members are 99% union goon, 99% Democrat, and 100% socialist. Besides, these folks have no qualms about committing vote fraud. And they do that to ensure party-approved socialist Democrats are elected to every position possible, from local dog catcher all the way up to United States president. That's why Obama and Jay Johnson are moving to give the feds control of state elections. We got to stop them. The socialist public sector labor unions will be in charge of counting the votes. Plus, the socialist public sector union goons will be in charge of who votes, including, as in California, New York, and other alien sanctuaries around America, illegal aliens. So if you want to know who's going to be voting, just go down to Tijuana and bring up another million Mexicans. That's all you got to do. The federal public sector labor union employees will bring them all up, and then when they're done, maybe bust them back. This power grab is so unconstitutional, which is another reason why you should be speaking out against it. And let me tell you the reason why it's unconstitutional. Article 1, Section 4 of our Constitution is very, very clear. It reads, and I quote, "The times, places, and manner of holding elections for senators and representatives shall be prescribed in each state by the legislature thereof, but Congress may at any time by law make or alter such regulations, except as to the time of choosing senators. Clearly, the executive branch has no constitutional authority at all over the election procedures. Only Congress has control, and even so, Congress cannot select the places where the election of senators is to be held. That power is specifically granted to the states, and changes can only be made if Congress passes a new bill. It has to be signed into law by the president. It has to go through the steps, the channels. But with Obama and his pen and his cell phone, forget about it. It doesn't matter to these socialists. They're just a bunch of Nazis with a Democrat button on their lapel. In any case, the public sector labor union crooks don't like the way that you voted in November, so they're going to ensure that you vote correctly from now on by stepping in and counting the votes for you. So it won't matter which way you voted. Just go back to Stalin. It only matters who counts the votes. You know what? We need to demand that Congress step in right now and rein in the Department of Homeland Security. Stop this nonsense. Cut the agency's funding if necessary, and keep control of our elections, and keep those elections in the hands of the 50 states where those elections belong. We can take care of the sanctuary cities and the alien voters directly through legislation and the action of President Trump. So please go to our action page today and take part in this campaign. Please tell Congress that this action is going on and it's inimical to the freedom of our country. They got to step in and stop it. It can't be overlooked. It's your job to make sure that they know about this action. Our network of patriot activists is sending this swarm of personalized letters to every member of Congress, and they need your help to continue this effort. Bob Mallory will let you know how to get to our action page on the next screen, so stay tuned. This is Charles Benninghoff signing off and wishing you freedom, fulfillment, and God's many, many blessings.
Help us stop the DHS from asserting federal control over state elections. If you're watching this on our action page, use the form next to the video screen to select a program. If you're watching this on YouTube or Facebook, click the icon appearing now to find a link to our action page, or check the video's description to find the link. Speak out today.